What if you could make a fertilizer from 3 ingredients that costs pennies per gallon, feeds your plants and your soil, and actually gets better results than the most popular commercial fertilizer in America? Miracle-Gro is a roughly $3 billion brand. They spend enormous amounts of money on marketing, on shelf placement, on that iconic blue box that has become synonymous with gardening itself. But the science says something the commercials never mention. Their product feeds the plant, but it slowly kills the soil. Long-term studies show that synthetic fertilizers degrade soil microbial communities, reduce soil organic matter, and create fertilizer dependency. Your garden becomes an addict, and like any addiction, the withdrawals are brutal. This is the story of 3 ingredients that the gardening establishment does not want you making at home. Not because they fail, because they do well. A fertilizer that costs nothing cannot be sold for billions. A method that builds soil health threatens the chemical industry. A recipe that eliminates repeat customers cannot sustain a corporate empire. And once you understand what these 3 ingredients do, you will never look at that blue box the same way again. Let us start with what Miracle-Gro actually is, because most gardeners have never thought about it. Miracle-Gro is a high salt index, water-soluble synthetic fertilizer. It delivers nutrients in ionic form directly to the plant, bypassing the soil food web entirely. Think of it this way. Your soil contains a complex ecosystem of bacteria, fungi, protozoa, nematodes, and microarthropods that have spent millions of years evolving to convert organic matter into plant-available nutrients. Miracle-Gro ignores all of that. It skips the biological process entirely and force-feeds the plant synthetic salts. Research shows that long-term use of synthetic fertilizers reduces soil microbial diversity by 20 to 40%, disrupts fungal networks, and degrades soil structure. It is the equivalent of giving someone an IV drip of sugar water instead of a real meal. The plant gets a spike, but the soil ecosystem starves. Plants grown on synthetic fertilizers become dependent. Without continuous feeding, they perform poorly because the soil biology that should be supporting them has been systematically diminished. The high salt index damages soil microorganisms and reduces beneficial bacteria populations. Synthetic fertilizers have been linked to groundwater contamination, runoff pollution, and long-term soil degradation that can take years to reverse. There is no microbial life in Miracle-Gro. Zero. It is sterile chemistry. It provides no humic acids, no fulvic acids, no trace minerals, no beneficial bacteria, no mycorrhizal fungi. It is designed to create repeat customers, not healthy soil ecosystems. The nitrogen in Miracle-Gro is primarily ammonium and urea based. It bypasses the natural nitrogen cycle and acidifies soil over time. Its NPK ratio, typically 24:8:16, is heavily nitrogen-weighted. This produces lush green growth, but not necessarily better fruit, better flavor, or better disease resistance. You get a plant that looks good on the surface, but is nutritionally hollow underneath. Sound familiar? It should. It is the same model the processed food industry uses on humans. Now here is what they do not want you to know. The first ingredient in this 3-part recipe is aerated compost tea. You take finished compost, steep it in water, and run a simple aquarium pump for 24 to 48 hours. That is it. What you get is a liquid teeming with billions of beneficial bacteria, fungi, protozoa, and nematodes per milliliter. A Korean study showed that aerated compost tea significantly promoted the growth of lettuce, soybean, and sweet corn in organic cultivation, outperforming untreated controls. But compost tea is not just a fertilizer. It has been shown to suppress plant diseases including Botrytis cinerea, Fusarium, Rhizoctonia, and Pythium. It is both a fertilizer and a biological pesticide. The microbes in the tea inoculate the soil and leaf surfaces, outcompeting pathogens through competitive exclusion. They physically occupy the space that disease organisms need, denying them a foothold. Compost tea provides broad-spectrum NPK in low but balanced amounts, along with humic acids, fulvic acids, trace minerals, and most importantly, living biology. The backbone of this recipe is not a chemical, it is an army. An army that reproduces, adapts, and gets stronger every time you deploy it. The second ingredient is blackstrap molasses, not the fancy stuff you put on pancakes. Blackstrap molasses is the final byproduct of sugar refining. It is thick, dark, and mineral-rich. It contains calcium, magnesium, potassium, iron, manganese, and B vitamins. It is essentially a micronutrient bomb, but its real power is what it does underground. When you add molasses to soil or compost tea, it serves as a carbon food source for beneficial soil microbes, dramatically increasing microbial populations and activity. You are not just adding microbes with the compost tea, you are giving them a feast. Studies show that molasses application increases soil organic phosphorus mineralization, making locked-up phosphorus available to plants. Research confirms it can substitute for mineral nitrogen fertilization and enhance crop productivity. In nematode management research, molasses reduced root knot nematode reproduction without negatively affecting plant growth. It works as a biological soil pest suppressant. This is the fundamental difference from synthetic fertilizers. Molasses does not feed the plant directly. It feeds the army of microbes that feed the plant. You are not bypassing biology. You are supercharging it. Every tablespoon of molasses you add is like dropping supplies behind friendly lines. The microbial population explodes, nutrient cycling accelerates, and your soil becomes a living factory that works around the clock. The third ingredient is Epsom salt, magnesium sulfate, not table salt. This distinction matters. Epsom salt provides two critical plant nutrients that most gardeners are chronically underfeeding: magnesium and sulfur. Magnesium is the central atom of chlorophyll. Without it, photosynthesis literally cannot happen. Sulfur is essential for protein synthesis and enzyme function. Research on water spinach in aquaponic systems showed that Epsom salt significantly improved growth performance. A study on beetroot showed it increased chlorophyll content, sugar content, and antioxidant activity. Magnesium deficiency is one of the most common and overlooked nutrient deficiencies in garden soils. And here is the detail that should make you pause. Miracle-Gro formulations typically contain little to no magnesium. The most popular fertilizer in America is missing one of the most important nutrients your plants need. Unlike many synthetic salts, Epsom salt has a relatively low salt index and does not change soil pH, making it safe for soil biology. It is especially critical for tomatoes, peppers, and roses, all heavy magnesium feeders. This is the secret weapon hiding in the pharmacy aisle. It costs about $4 for a bag that will last an entire growing season. The recipe is simple enough that you can memorize it right now. For 5 gallons of dechlorinated water, add 1 to 2 cups of finished compost in a mesh bag or old pillowcase, 1 tablespoon of unsulfured blackstrap molasses, and 1 tablespoon of Epsom salt. Let your tap water sit for 24 hours to off-gas chlorine, or use rainwater if you have it. Aerate with a simple aquarium pump and air stone for 24 to 48 hours. This is critical. The aeration is what multiplies the beneficial aerobic microorganisms. Apply within 4 hours of removing aeration because the microbes begin dying without oxygen. Use it as both a soil drench and a foliar spray. The cost works out to roughly 15 to 30 cents per gallon, compared to 50 cents to over $1 per gallon for Miracle-Gro. 3 ingredients from the garden, the grocery store, and the pharmacy. No chemistry degree required. So why have you never seen this demonstrated at a garden show? Why is this not featured on the main stage at every gardening expo in the country? The answer is financial, and it is not subtle. The commercial fertilizer industry is a multi-billion-dollar oligopoly. Research has documented anti-competitive behavior in the fertilizer market. Major garden shows are often sponsored by synthetic fertilizer companies like Miracle-Gro, Scott's, and Osmocote. There is a direct financial incentive to not showcase methods that cost pennies and use pantry ingredients. Many competitive garden shows have categories and rules that effectively separate organic from conventional growing methods. Organic growing advocates have reported being questioned or having entries challenged at competitive shows when their produce outperformed conventionally grown entries. The implication was that they must have used some prohibited substance, when in reality they used biological methods that simply worked better. The deeper truth is uncomfortable but unavoidable. If everyone made their own fertilizer for pennies, who would buy the $3 billion worth of Miracle-Gro sold every year? The organic farming certification movement itself was partly a response to the synthetic fertilizer industry's dominance, a way to carve out space for methods that the mainstream industry was actively marginalizing. The science explains why this approach outperforms synthetic fertilizers over time, and the trajectory is everything. A landmark study from the Rodale Institute, one of the longest-running comparisons of organic and conventional farming in the world, showed that compost-based systems matched or exceeded synthetic fertilizer yields, while dramatically improving soil quality, reducing nitrate leaching, and increasing soil organic matter. Organic fertilization improves fruit quality parameters, including higher brick sugar content, better taste scores, and increased antioxidant levels in strawberries and tomatoes. Long-term compost addition increases crop yield and improves soil quality. It is a compounding investment, not a depreciating one. Homemade dry manure tea was found to be equivalent to synthetic fertilizer for spinach growth and nutrition. The key difference is trajectory. Synthetic fertilizers produce bigger plants in the short term, but they degrade soil in the long term. Biological fertilizers produce equal or better plants, and they improve the soil over time. Year 1 might be a tie. By year 3, the biological approach wins decisively. Every season you pour Miracle-Gro, your soil gets weaker. Every season you pour compost tea, your soil gets stronger. One is withdrawal, the other is compound interest, and compound interest always wins given enough time. The pattern here is familiar, and it extends far beyond gardening. A method that enables self-sufficiency is systematically overlooked, not because it is inferior, but because it cannot be controlled, packaged, and sold back to you at a markup. The commercial fertilizer industry spends billions to convince you that plant nutrition is complicated and that you need their products. The science says otherwise. 3 ingredients. Pennies per gallon. It feeds the plant and the soil simultaneously. It suppresses disease. It improves flavor. And it gets better every single year you use it. Try it on half your garden this season. Run your own experiment. Compare the results yourself. The plants will tell you everything you need to know. You do not need a corporation to feed your soil. You do not need a blue box from the garden aisle to grow tomatoes that actually taste like tomatoes. The knowledge is not lost. It was never lost. It is sitting in your compost bin, on your pantry shelf, and in your medicine cabinet. It has been there the whole time, waiting for you to stop buying what you could be brewing. 3 ingredients, 1 bucket, 0 dependency. The strength was always here, brewing quietly, free.